For real, like the first 3 times you said it.
On your left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Voice is clown.
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark. Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poisons, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my god!
Whoa.
That's the gas.
Jesus. All the buttons.
We're
Welcome.
professionals.
Welcome to episode 106 or issue 106 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. You know what it is? Is we got a lot going on tonight. Like this was a hefty week. That's all I'm saying. And so
We're also not professionals.
we're not prepared. No, we're just not prepared. Anyway, welcome to issue 106 or episode 106 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us live here on YouTube. We welcome every single one of y'all. What up, Jaden? And as always, we're going to talk about a little bit of news some business before we get into the actual show and we get into our review of She-Hulk episode 7. As always, we are going to talk about our show's sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. That is our LCS and our home, and we absolutely love it there. And you know, Ron and everybody else at the shop really takes care of us. They let us know what's coming out if we kind of missed something, or if, you know, we're reading something, they're like, yeah, don't read that. They let us know. They just keep us in check, and they never say don't read that. They always say read more. Anyway, they're great. They're awesome, and they have a website called brainycomics.com. If you head on over there and type brainycomics.com in another tab that you're currently, you know, if you're on your computer or your iPad, type in brainycomics.com and check out their website right here. And if you go over there, you can shop. You can get exclusive and variant covers, bundles, Bad Idea books, which round 2 is coming out soon. New comics, mystery bags, back issues, graphic novels, games, toys and collectibles, and I say it every time, as always, even trading cards. So head on over to brainycomics.com, do some shopping, and then right before you are about to check out, go into that search bar and type in Two Fat Guys Pull Us, and when you press enter, this is going to pop up. It's our Two Fat Guys Pull Us upgrade and premium upgrade. You're probably asking, well, what is that? So if you put this in your cart, right, you will get if you do the upgrade, you will get one mystery exclusive and or variant cover in your shopping cart that will be mailed to you once you pay, right? But if you do the premium, that gets you 2 for $15. Now, you're probably looking at those prices and go, like, is it really worth it? Well, I can tell you right now that most of the variants and exclusive covers are at about minimum $15. Some of them are $30.
I agree, Joe.
Okay, we'll get to that. Anyway, but yeah, you get some cool stuff. Now, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to get one of these that are actually on the front of the page. They always do vary. It's a mystery. It's random. But Ron does tend to try to match what you've ordered. So if you ordered a Star Wars comic book, you might get an exclusive Star Wars variant. If you've ordered, you know, a Superman or a Batman, you might get a DC one, or Marvel, etc. You know, Image or Independent. So head on over to brainycomics.com, do a little bit of shopping, then put in that upgrade in your cart, check out, get what you get, let us know on social once you get it, tag us in it, show us what you got. So brainycomics.com, go check it out. Also, a little bit of news. We are at 720 subscribers as of this recording. Now, that number does fluctuate. Sometimes we'll lose 3 or maybe we'll gain 4. I don't know. But that being said, guys, we are 30 away. Because I can do math. Shut up. To hit 750 subscribers. So, what we need everyone to do right now is go share this show right now on any social feed that you have, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, even Instagram. I don't care, anything. And let the people know why Two Fat Guys Pull List is one of the best comic book shows on YouTube right now. We need to get that subscription service or subscribers list up so we can get to 750. And then obviously our ultimate goal at 1,000. Now, you know the deal, right? Most of y'all know the deal. But for anyone here that's new, if we hit 750 subscribers, we're giving away the CGC 9.4 graded Silver Surfer Black issue number 1, second printing with Null on the cover. This is what we're giving away when we hit 750 subscribers. And then, you know, we're giving away some stuff at 850, even 950, and then when we hit 1,000, we're still giving this away, guys. CBCS graded 9.8. Amazing Spider-Man number 1, first appearance of Silk, Original Sin tie-in. Let's go, guys. We can do it. We're getting there, guys. Let's do it. Anyway, thank you, everyone that is here live, currently watching the show. We could not do this without you. Make sure to hit that like button. Ring that bell if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Obviously, you haven't done that already. But if you're watching this as an old episode and you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Ring that bell. Never miss a Two Fat Guys Pull List video. Ever. But yes. Ever. So, let's get into it, right? Let's get into the... I'm sure the music is way too loud. I feel like it's way too loud. Let me turn it down just a little bit. There we go. That feels...
Probably.
That felt a little better. I was prepared, but I wasn't prepared. Like, all my slides are set. I had everything up, but like obviously when we started the show, there was a massive influx of noise. Now we've got the music set. We're ready to go. Here we go. So, what up, Tendu? What up, Joe? What up, Stefan? How about them boys?
No, don't be jealous. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we won too.
Okay.
Green Bay won.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
Green Bay won, or did the other team lose?
That's how football works.
Who did y'all play this
Anyway,
week?
the Patriots. And they had Brandon Hoyer as their quarterback because Jones broke his ankle or something, like got it ripped off. And literally the first possession, he got a concussion. So then they had their third string rookie quarterback.
Did he
come in.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
poor guy.
He's like, they were hyping up. He's like, he's back. He's been with the Patriots for so long. You know, this is a big opportunity. Boom, out.
Oh, poor guy.
Football sucks, dude. Anyway, did Cleveland win? I don't
I'm looking right now because I have not.
think they did. I think they may have lost. I don't know. Did they win?
No. I'm looking at my phone's being weird.
Weird. All right. Well, while we're waiting
they
for
did
that,
not. They lost to the Falcons. 20.
ouchies. Ouchies. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about She-Hulk episode 7 really quick before we jump into this week's pull list. Episode 7. I think it was called The Retreat, if I'm not mistaken. But we've got Jen, getting ghosted by, I don't get it, dude. Like, I really don't. How can you hate on Jen? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, first of all, you're like, there's an entire group of people that are wanting her dead, which, I mean, obviously sounds very familiar to, like, I don't know, our whole situation here with comics. But anyway, I digress. Jen gets ghosted.
Dead?
Huh?
Who want us dead?
No, not us dead, but like,
Oh.
I'm just saying in general, like, there are people that go out like, hey, I want Tom Taylor to die. And you're like, what?
Oh.
Why would you ever say that? Anyway, Joe says Deadpool 3 announcement is my pick of the week. I think we're getting trolled, by the way, Joe. I don't think Wolverine's coming back. I'm just letting you know now.
Oh no, that's 100%. He's already on the roster call and everything.
Nah, they're gonna like kill him in the first 5 seconds of the movie. Just boom. Let's get to this first, then we can talk about that. This episode was great. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the retreat. I liked the ensemble of just oddball D-list characters. Swashbuckler, freaking A+, Manbull A+, Porcupine, all of it. The whole thing, the whole retreat was really good. And obviously we're really setting up. We're obviously setting up. The last 2 episodes of the show, right? There's going to be this big reveal. Daredevil's going to be in the last episode, duh, right? And we're going to get a little bit of a montage training there, and I'm with you, Nate. Ever since you said it, you think that She-Hulk is going to end on a gigantic cliffhanger that will probably confirm a season 2. And I absolutely love that idea. Not obviously because I love the show, but I love that it's going to piss off a lot of other people that just absolutely detest the show. I think it's going to be great content for the writers for season 2 if that actually happens. Like, they already kind of predicted a lot of this, negativity towards the show.
Yeah.
And so then they'll be like going on TikTok and YouTube and actually getting like content of people just like blowing the show up for no reason. I mean, I wouldn't say no reason. There are some people that have legit opinions about it, and that's okay. But the people that are like, "You're fucking stupid for liking the show," that's ridiculous. Like, just don't watch it.
Okay, buddy.
But anyway, I thought this episode was really good. I thought the only thing I don't want to say I didn't like, but was just very predictable was Josh. Like, I was really hoping he wasn't an asshole. I was really hoping he wasn't part of that website that was trying to get her killed or get her blood. I was hoping, because I knew it was going to be something dark, right? Like, right. And I was really hoping he just got kidnapped. Like, he slept with Jen, and then he was leaving the apartment, or maybe he was going to like go get breakfast for the two of them, and he gets kidnapped because they slept together or something like that. Like, that's what I was hoping, but that's too complex, right? It was very like he slept with her obviously to get to her blood and download her phone. Yay, like that was my only kind of like I don't know, predictable part of the show. I wouldn't say disappointed, but I was hoping for more there.
I get that.
So, that's just my opinion.
I honestly don't I don't watch these with a very critical eye, because that's just, it's not what it is to me. It's just a way to expand the universe a little bit, and just kind of, honestly, I don't even think it matters. Like, at this point, like, this is what I think we need to do with comics a little bit more, which is like, where it fits in the MCU doesn't matter. Like, sure,
just have fun.
It's gonna be in there, but like, for the most part, it just needs to have fun and be representative of the character, and I think that very much is.
Right, and the original writers and people that brought it to life, and all the different series. I saw one of the Easter eggs was Dan Slott. Slott's name is in it, and then there's so when she gets picked up by the tow truck, it's called Slott Towing. And then the guy driving it on his uniform his name is Dan. So it was a clear shout out to Dan Slott, which I thought was kind of cool, even though I'm mad at
that was cool.
But it is what it is. Tendu, my opinion aligns with somewhat a majority and that state of MCU. It's bad. The writing and overall direction of She-Hulk doesn't feel like a Phase 1, not seeing the significance of the show, and it lacks importance. Mind you, this problem exists in most of the MCU shows except Loki. I think Disney has a problem on their hands because of the multi-million-dollar shows are slowly looking the comics. Did I read that right?
Yeah. See, and I just don't agree. I don't think anyone at all is trying to make this feel like Phase 1 or make this feel like it needs to have some type of grand importance. This show definitely did not cost multi-millions of dollars in comparison to like Loki or something like that. The budget was probably not even a tenth of what Loki was.
Loki was freaking crazy.
Yeah, and Loki was crazy, and I think Loki did exactly what it was supposed to do, and I think WandaVision, for the most part, did what it was supposed to do. I'll actually still say that conceptually, WandaVision's the best MCU show so far, but that's just because I'm a former TV RTVF major nerd, so that'll always appeal to me. But no, I don't. Yeah, if you're comparing this to Phase 1 and the importance of that kind of stuff, and you think that everything in these Disney MCU shows are supposed to be setting up for the grand scheme of the next phase, you are going to be very disappointed.
I also think and this is just my like off the cuff thought. What's crazy about, and we're going real deep here, but like phase 1 into all the way to the Infinity Saga, right? The two Infinity movies, right? Like, what's crazy about that for Marvel fans is a lot of people who are watching this stuff now were kids when this stuff came out. When did the first
Yeah.
Iron Man movie come out? Like
Ooh.
early 2000s? Yeah.
08, 07 or something like
Mid
that?
2000s. And a lot of people were, killed children, right? And they've experienced this and they've grown up with this. And it's what's crazy is that, and I think I've read I've seen this kind of theory or not theory, but explanation come out. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not trying to say you're wrong or right or whatever, but I feel like we've seen almost an evolution in fandom that happened with Star Wars, right? Star Wars was decades old, right? And then it gets picked up, and then you've got all these people from, the 70s and 80s who are just like, this ain't my fucking Star Wars. This is bullcrap. It's not serious enough, or it's not this or that, or it's not Star Wars enough, or whatever. And that conversation is still happening today with like Endor. There's a split division, and I have not watched the show, but there's a split.
I've seen the first episode.
There's a split right now where it's like, this is too serious. This isn't Star Wars. And then there's other people that are Star Wars fandom that are like, this is fucking awesome. No more kid shit. This is adult. And you're like, and I'm sitting there looking this going on, and in my brain, I had the same thought when Solo came out. I was like, guys, we get Star Wars at the time every Christmas. We get a new Star Wars movie every Christmas, no matter if it's good or bad. We get to go to a theater and hear bah, and you know what I mean? Like, just enjoy it. And I feel like that's starting to happen with Marvel, where it's like nothing's ever gonna beat the original trilogy or phases. And I think, I mean, obviously Kevin has set up this idea that there are multiple phases, and we're going to 4, then 5, then 6, right? And that's just how it works. But I think we can go outside of that idea. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't anything wrong with actually having a storyline and a narrative that goes through year by year by year to crescendo into a giant, massive movie that just complements the entire phase. I'm not saying that we can't do that, but I think I'm right there with you, Nate. Like, not every show has to be this puzzle piece that has to fit. I think there are things from the show that can go into other parts and go, oh yeah, I remember that, and oh, maybe that was a little bit of important. That's a callback. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I think Joe put it pretty well. Says the MCU is like Netflix; they have everything for everyone. It's not all the same tone. If this one doesn't work for you, maybe the next one will. And even Tendu said, what he meant by like phase 1 stuff is like, everyone was super hooked after Avengers, and that you kind of need to keep that, with the Thanos appearing and stuff like that, you need to keep that audience garnered and paying attention. And I think that this is just my opinion, who knows, but like, I think that they realize that that's probably not sustainable, and so they're trying to do the opposite, trying to do what Joe says, is they're trying to just literally just go, you know what, we're gonna cover the gambit. No longer are we superhero shows, we're slice of life shows, we're action fantasy, we're sci-fi, throwback RTVF nerd type shit. Like, oh yeah, we happen to have comic book characters and superheroes in all of our shows, but we're not comic book shows. We're literally Marvel, and we're doing every genre. And I think that, to me, that is more of a sustainable thing to do than trying to recreate what we had through phases.
Well, yeah, and that's super hard when you're trying to find a character that, or at least a villain that's so relatable yet so fucking like massive, right? Like, I know that they're trying to make Kang that, and I'm not saying Kang is not respectable as a villain. The dude is fucking mean, Like, I'm not saying he's not, but he's not Thanos. He's not Thanos. And I just don't know if you can replicate it. But, it's an evolving thing, like you're saying, and there's a little bit of everything for everyone. And I will say this about this episode. This episode actually felt longer, even though it was about the same length as some of the other episodes. That being said, I felt like there was a lot more substance in this episode. Obviously, because we saw Jen grow, and then we had the whole, she doesn't know she's been betrayed, and that her blood's out there. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the last 2 episodes, and then I really hope you're right, Nate. I hope we get more a season 2 reveal that continues to open the door for other characters to exist in the MCU. Because that's the cool thing about She-Hulk is like she can have her own narrative and story. But she also opens the door for other characters to be present in the MCU, right? And so that we can either watch a movie or another show and be like, oh yeah, we saw that person here, or we saw their origins start in She-Hulk, or they were a defendant in a case and now they have their own thing. That's freaking awesome. Like, we're clearly getting that with Daredevil, and it would be cool to see that with other characters. And then obviously we're going to see Jen in movies. She's going to show up. I'm sure she will be the Hulk in one of the Avengers films, if not all of them, until a certain phase. And I'm going to throw it out there now. I'm sure we're going to get an A-Force. We will get an A-Force either show or actual movie where it is an all-female Avengers team, and 50% of the comics community will lose their goddamn mind.
You're right.
So
I think A-Force is right for the picking too, because it doesn't have a ton of history or back dialogue of issues to go off of, so they can really just do what they want.
Right.
People getting so upset. Oh, you didn't follow the comics. Like, did you even read those 6?
Yeah, right.
Or 12, or however many.
Let me give I know there are a ton of comments, and I love it. I love seeing all this dialogue. But where was it? Holden. I've enjoyed every episode. My favorite so far is 4. I liked the AA setting with the villains sharing in the circle. Laughed out loud a couple times. No, that was freaking awesome. And I actually I want a Man Bull swashbuckler like mini series, like just like 5-minute episodes of them like getting coffee or trying to buy a car or something like that. Like I would love to see that. But overall, I loved it.
Patty, yes, this episode, by the way, was written by
who?
You were right, Zeb Wells.
Zeb Wells, yeah. Very impressed. Either way, digging it.
I think we need to probably this amount of dialogue here shows us we probably need to do like an end of series recap.
I was gonna talk to you about that. I was kind of planning on it. I kind of want to, just to kind of, because I want to rewatch the entire.
We got 2 more, right?
Yeah, 2 more, and then that's it. Yeah, I love it. So,
all right.
I promise we will continue to acknowledge chat, but we got to move because we got a lot of books to talk about this week. But hey, I am glad we are having a dialogue. Every single one of you, Joe, Tendu, Calvin, Aaron, all of y'all, Holden. Let's keep it going. Patty as well. All right, let's jump into Avengers Judgment Day, issue number 1. This is kind of like issue 1 of 3, kind of, because we're in the same setting for 3 issues. One's Avengers, one's X-Men, and the last one is Eternals. And when I opened the book, I was like, oh man, we're dealing with Tony. I don't know. I wanted there to be a continuation about Cap and like what the hell's going on there. Obviously, we're not going to get that because we're getting the actual like mission inside of the Eternal and how they're going to turn it off.
Right.
That being said, this issue slapped, dude. Like, we just got done reading. We're almost essentially done reading the current Iron Man run, and we were both very connected to that book. We really enjoyed, the first 20 issues. And I don't know. I just felt like it felt like we were kind of back in it a little bit. We were dealing with some trauma from that series, with Iron Man becoming a celestial, essentially, or a god, and killing his best friend. And now we're kind of seeing like, hey, if you had kept this power, you might not have had to deal with this bullshit, which I thought was really cool. But I don't know. This is one of those moments where the artwork, and it's a tie-in, the artwork, the writing, and the overall story just come together and just make me feel like I felt when we first started this hobby and this channel, which is I fucking love comics.
The artwork definitely pulled me in like instantly. Yeah. I even had to double take. I was, shit, is this Dinaculo, the Seven Secrets guy? I was like, man, the style is so...
It's pretty dang close.
Similar to his. So it had me in right at the very beginning. And obviously with Karen Gillan writing it, you know it's going to be pretty in line with the story and
Yeah.
what we've got going on.
Yeah.
I actually was not. I'm just going to jump to the judgment. I was not happy
wow.
with the judgment.
Ooh.
I don't feel okay. Let's just stop for a second.
Yeah.
There's one of three options. This was in the MCU and I forgot. This is in comics and I forgot, or I'm literally insane.
Okay.
Wasn't Tony's dad like agent of Mephisto and like a devil worshiper and shit?
So that is in Jason Aaron's current Avenger run.
Right.
So again,
dude would not be like, I'm so proud of you, son. You did so
right.
well.
And so that begs the question, like, does Karen Gillan know something that we don't know about Jason Aaron's Avengers run? Is it literally is Jason Aaron's whole Avenger run over here? Like, is that gonna end and be like, nah, it didn't really count? You know, I could see that happening. Or is Karen Gillan going like, you know what, that shit's stupid, and this is my story, you know, which I think that might be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, that was what threw me off the most about this issue. I really like Kieran Gillen writing Sinister. I know he's done Sinister in the past, but his humor...
Joe says Tony Stark is adopted. He wasn't born a Stark.
Right. But they say that in here somewhere in this issue, right? But still, like I don't know. The whole thing made me feel weird. I didn't think the judgment was.
I feel like you wanted him to be. I feel like you wanted him to fail. You wanted him to be judged. Like,
I mean, that is the appropriate judgment for Tony Stark.
Okay,
I don't think anyone would.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just, that was that's what you wanted.
Right, but who thinks Tony Stark should get a thumbs up judgment?
Apparently, Karen Gillan.
Not even Tony Stark thinks he should get that.
Okay, and that's probably why he got a thumbs up.
I don't like it. It was an okay issue.
That was good.
The art really stuck out to me. I didn't. I thought it was a super easy read.
Yeah.
But it was just like a nice, easy tie-in.
Yeah. Tendu, remember how Thor was a damn unstoppable? Now he dies seasonally. Now he didn't die in APOC Twins run with Kang when the whole Earth was nuked and mutants had a whole planet to themselves. Dude, I think you said this before. Like, there are no power levels, and I think it goes the other way too. I'll be very interested to see, in a good way, but I'm just interested to see how Karen ends it. I think we're all very worried that it's going to be one of these, like, oh, it's all a dream, some bullshit like that. I really hope it's not. I hope it's a really cool twist that just makes us feel even more connected to the characters that we like and don't like. So we will see. All right, next up we have The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 10. I want you to take the lead on this one because I feel like I just want to know.
For a book that didn't have JR art on it, it still sucked. I was really disappointed. I was like, oh man, Junior's not on the art. I can enjoy it. What's this? What is that? What's wrong with his face?
He's like this.
Like,
he looks like this.
Like, what are these faces? This is
dude, it's just a different art style, dude.
It's not just a different art style.
Damn, I miss Junior.
Look at this. Look at that face. So that instantly pulled me out, and I was like, well,
really?
It pulled me right out of the issue.
Tendu says the artwork was reveling JR. Like, they're on like both levels.
Yeah, the art here was rivaling Junior. I agree.
Okay.
And it pulled me out, and I thought it was a little bit predictable of an issue. I didn't really. I don't know. I think if editorial told Zeb Wells he had to write a Judgment Day, Sure. I think this makes sense. I think it's the issue is Spider-Man does Judgment Day to himself every 20 issues. That it's like you can't really write something that hasn't been done before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know that that's necessarily Zeb Wells' fault so much as it's just Spider-Man didn't need a Judgment Day issue. He just didn't. So I think whoever decided he needed it.
Okay, well, I was about to say something, and then Joe literally just put it in perfect, like how I felt about the issue, which is, Spider-Man was so good. The ending hit me with the feels. Him finally having that moment with Gwen was amazing. The cliffhanger was fun. All positive for me. I agree. I am going to say something really, I guess, controversial and probably dumb to a lot of you. The artwork really didn't bother me that much. And Nate, you're frozen. I don't know. It just didn't. I guess because we've had Junior on the art for so long, it didn't bother me. I was like, oh, this is somewhat of a refreshing take compared to Ramita. But that's just me. Like I'm right there with you, Joe. I thought the emotional, as predictable as it is, right? It's very predictable. Like Gwen is going to be the Judgment character, but the interaction and how the Judgment happened, because we've been so, it's been driven into us that it's like a really quick, like 15-minute talk, and then it's over, right? And like the Celestial just stuck with Peter through the night, didn't say anything to him, and just let him write it out. And I don't know, I thought that was really cool. And then the Celestial actually giving Gwen and Peter time to kind of reconcile, I thought was really cool too. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And then as they're kind of warming up to it, to the whole idea, it's like, oh, bye. I was like, oh shit, right? And then seeing Norman see Gwen, and she's like death stare on him. I'm like, oh fuck, right? I don't know. That for me, it was really cool. I thought it was really, really neat, and definitely had me in the feels. And I also liked seeing Uncle Ben with Aunt May, and just like them having a moment. I think she probably had the same situation where she was able to just have some time with Ben before he disappeared too. At least that's what I would assume. That's what I want. Right.
And I get that. I just feel like we've done that before.
Why is Ghost Gwen judging both him and Norman? Ben could be judging Peter, and Norman's wife couldn't judge him. I don't know I don't quite understand that one.
I think it's you can toss a coin, because I think they're both very valid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ben judging him would have been just as powerful as Gwen. I feel like we've had both of them happen in some sort of way before, whether they were just brought back for a second or alternate reality versions or whims of the mind or something. I feel like it's happened.
We'll get to the Tim Drake book, which is really odd. We'll get there, but I've got a controversial take on that one. But I'm just gonna say it now. If I had to split up my picks of the week, this would be my Marvel pick of the week. I just really liked it, which is weird. I know everybody hates it. But it's fine. Whatever. All right. Did you read Gary Jerry? Hey, you did. Wow. Okay.
I didn't have the heart to tell Lee to put it back, and then I had already heard that it was a pretty good issue. So
it is a pretty good issue. This is an instance where I truly believe Gary Jerry was either given or he stole Jonathan Hickman's show notes on what to do with the Children of the Vault. And my main concern, and I said it in our new comic book day video, was that Gary Jerry was going to do a one and done, get this over with, get the Children of the Vault done with, and we'll move on to another story. And clearly he's pushing it to another issue. I hope we go further than that, but we will see. I know I could cheat and go to the solicitations. It's got me intrigued, dude. The Kassar art was really good. And this whole idea of, I mean, they bait and switched us, right? I was like, oh shit. Like, I guess we're done. I guess X-Men are done. All the other solicitations are just poo-poo and they're lying to us. Gary Jerry is ending the Krakoa age, the Krakoa era. Oh, let's just say Earth in general, because who can be the Children of the Vault? And the way the way that, this has been set up for a minute. I remember Xavier was it the gala? It was the gala. Xavier approached Forge after he was put on the X-Men team to do this initiative, which is essentially to mind trick the children of the vault that when they get out that they think they're going to conquer the world when really they're in their own little bubble living their own dream. Pretty fucking cool. And so we're going back in because we need to go get what's his name? Darwin,
yep.
Which I'm like, hey man, it's been a minute and I know we've all been thinking about it, right? So I don't know, I liked it. If he can do that, if Gary can just stick to this and just like solve all the Hickman mysteries that we need solved, then I think this book is worth raising up. I mean, I'd still read it either way, right? And I know you wouldn't. Like, if it doesn't have consequence, or not even consequence, just the way Gary writes, you're probably out. But I like there being some connectivity, and there's been snippets of it with Gary. Like, he's been like, oh, remember this? All right, now I'm going to do a 3 arc where this doesn't really, it doesn't matter what I do here. Oh, remember this? Like, he keeps on doing that.
Yeah, I will actually go so far as to say I'm afraid that the Kieran Gillen Immortal X-Men is either canceled after the event is over, or is obviously relegated to a more minor role in the Krakoan era.
It could.
I think that Marvel editorial cannot allow the Untitled X-Men book to not be the number one player of the X books. They can't let a book called Immortal X-Men be the number one book. They allowed it because it fed right into this event. It was the Kieran Gillen book, and this is Kieran Gillen's event. But I think this right here shows you that we're already shifting. Okay, Gal, get back to X-Men. Make sure you're paying attention here. This is where shit's happening.
So let me ask you this. When Kieran Gillen's Immortal X-Men run ends, is he just done with X-Men, or does he take over for X-Men? And Gary Jerry goes off to something, because Gary Jerry's getting ready to do Iron Man.
He's getting to do Iron Man, yeah. I think that would be really interesting. I think cool. Who knows, but that would be cool. That'd be a good idea. That'd be a good way to do it.
We'll see. Stefan, Forge is living his best life in the Krakoa era. Yeah, no doubt. Tendu, I dislike this book a bit. This should have been an event. I agree. I do agree with that.
All right, y'all. Everything can't be an event. But yes, it would have been a good one.
If it was perfect, Hickman should have wrote this. But we have to get past that.
Hey, at least we know the next issue is going to be continuing this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And then I don't know if you saw the little preview that we're going to get before solicitations. That Sinister event, the Sins of Sinister. Have you seen that?
Vaguely.
Oh, I'm excited.
Not.
I'm not
excited.
I am,
but
because
I hope other people are. I want them to be.
I think I am, because we got a preview of it potentially in the Immortal X-Men issue where Destiny saw all the different events within the Sins of Sinister. I'm like, please. Also, I don't know if you saw in that preview image, Rasputin is there.
Wait, what? What preview
Rasputin is in the preview image for Sins of Sinister. I'm just saying it right now. Tendu, I like how do you accept making a Sinister event but skip a Children of the Vault? Yeah, I know, you're right. Patty, I've always loved Forge. I'm glad he's not like a complete side character. Totally agree. His moss-covered gun and armor look like an absolute trash, but I love it. The dude strapped what is that?
Caliban's face as a chest plate.
Yep.
I love that. I that was very good. I really like.
I'm excited. All right, after that we have Ant-Man issue number 3. What? This was crazy. This is the penultimate issue essentially until we get to issue 4. So obviously things needed to all kind of tie in, and goddamn, didn't they? Or did they? I still need to dive into the Ultron fusing himself with Hank Pym. Like, I need to read that, like, when that actually happened. So we're dealing with that. And essentially what we're doing is Iron Man and Thor are trying to either eliminate this Ultron Hank Pym abomination or hide him very well so nobody can find him. So he's been captured and put into a vibranium coffin, which then it was also a rune, a Asgardian rune was placed on top of it so that nobody could get inside of it, right?
Okay.
And one thing leads to another. It ends up getting transported or disappears via another Ant-Man villain. And the book ends with Scott Lang being transported by the future Ant-Man to a current future conflict with none other than the All-Father Ultron. So this is the thing that I guess future Ant-Man has been trying to fight, and he's been gathering other Ant-Man to fight. That's how the issue ends. And I was totally like, Al Ewing, what are you trying to be the new Donny Cates? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? I fucking loved it. It was really fun, and this really brought it home for me, and I cannot wait next week to get the last issue, or it's either next week or the week after. I can't remember. No, it's next week. I can't wait. Calvin says Rage of Ultron. It was a beautifully drawn graphic novel. I need to check it out. Joe, I dig Ant-Man this week, and I think we get the last one next week. Yep. So that's awesome. A 1-2 punch to close the mini. Ewing is rolling with his books. Totally, except for the next book that we're talking about, because I was not impressed. But we'll get there. But overall, I enjoyed this book. Did you read it? You didn't read it.
No.
Oh, you don't. Yeah. All right. Here's another Ewing book. Defenders Beyond. I Am Phoenix.
What?
Yeah.
We went Defenders Volume 1 here.
A little bit. There were some things that I thought were really cool in here, like America Chavez still like wearing the Eternity mask and like, you know, trying to power up. That was cool. But yeah, you're right. Like, what? No, I will say this. The Beyonder in this issue was fucking hilarious. I will say that. But we are now back to third issue, and we're like, wait a minute. What's going on? I will say, when we got to the third issue of Defenders Part 1, when we got to this book, the language that was used was so thick that I couldn't have any semblance of direction. I feel like I know where we might be going a little bit in this issue, because it was kind of dumbed down, like, word-wise. But I don't know. The thing that got me, that kind of, like, it was stated, and I was like, oh, so is that what they are? And I think it was the Beyonder. I can't remember. He was like, you are Eternity's defenders. And I was like, oh, so instead of Doctor Strange, it was Eternity. And like, obviously that happened in issue 1, but it was like stated as a fact that these guys are the defenders of Eternity, which I thought was pretty cool. Or Eternity's defenders.
Sure.
But I don't know what the fuck's going on now, and I'm really worried.
Yeah, this was just, the concept was just too high for me. Like, maybe I needed to smoke before I read this one. And then what's so frustrating is, like, I feel like there's something amazing happening, and I'm not smart enough to get it.
Exactly.
And I don't know if that's just that is true, and that Al Ewing is just throwing down something that I'm not smart enough to get, or what I think is more likely is that Javier Rodriguez is absolutely just laying his life on the line, putting down his absolute like magnum opus of art, and it's so epic, it's so grand. There's not a single traditional page in this issue of like panel structure. Like, it's all just wild.
Yeah.
And it's telling a story that makes me excited and makes me intrigued and makes me wish I understood what was going on more. And I really think this book is someone in Marvel editorial who realizes how damn smart Al Ewing is, how much he knows about continuity in general and specifically cosmic continuity. And it's just
Marvel
saying
history, just Marvel history in general.
And it's just saying, make a book for the top of the top, for the smartest of the smarties. because then he ends issue 3 with dropping a dude like Glorian, and you're like,
I had to do it. I had to do a search.
I had to do a search, and I was like, the off-kilter randomness of this character, my god. So hats off to that. I'm not smart enough or educated enough to get it.
I think that should be our worry now. If there's ever going to be another if there's going to be a Defenders after or something, I don't know. I guess maybe Al Ewing is tasked to clean up and or resolve storylines, whether 3 years ago or 30 years ago, within Marvel continuity, and that kind of sucks. But am I still along for the ride? I kind of want to be, like
it's just 2 more issues.
Yeah, but it's still frustrating because like you get hooked and then you're like thick 2 C's, just like you get hit with the book and you're like, I don't know, like I want to keep reading, but I don't know I want to. So anyway, there's that. All right, we got Thor issue number 27 from Al Ewing and Donny Cates. To me, and this is my observation, right? There are elements of this book that are obviously Donnie, and I'll say the very end when we've got a crimson Mjolnir popping out. That's pretty cool. What I don't like about this book is we're being forced to read Ewing's Venom run right now. And I don't like that. Yeah, because every time they make it, there's literally references left and right whenever Eddie Brock or Venom is talking, and it's like, go see Venom, blah, 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 or go do this with blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, I read 3 issues of Al Ewing and Ram V's Venom, and I was not on board. I just was not. And I guess when we were first solicited this book, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Donnie gets to write Venom again. He gets to play with his favorite toy that he really had a good time with. And then, whatever happened, and we don't know what happened. So all we can do is just guess and or just not talk about it. But Ewing picked up the pieces, and I'm sure it was instructed by Marvel to go, okay, you need to talk about this. Like you need to do this. And I don't know. I want Thor. If Donnie's not writing it, if Donnie's not writing Venom again for these 2 issues and he gets to play with Eddie Brock, I'm not interested. And this was kind of a letdown for me outside of the Red Mjolnir showing up from a very random Thor character. I thought that was cool. I was like, that felt like Donnie. Like that whole thing felt like Donnie. But then when Ewing's Venom came in, I was like, the tone just shifted, like, wait. And then it just kind of rushed to that very end of the book. And I'm like, I don't know if I can, this sounds so stupid. I just don't feel like I can believe this. I don't know. It was weird.
So a couple of things.
Unimpressed. Sorry.
I just checked.
Okay.
1, you don't need to read any of the Ewing run at all. As a matter of fact, the only issue from the run that's referenced is issue number 17, which doesn't come out for another 4 months.
It's too much.
They're on issue 13 right now. That's why he says, for you fellow time travelers. 2,
too much.
The only other issue by number that they reference is a Thor issue, or through issue 3.
Just too much.
3, Joe, I agree. Where's Nick Klein? The dude, just like every other good artist, I guess they're not that good because they can't keep up with the book, or because Marvel won't let them keep up with the book, or I don't know. But instead, they got the world's most predictable tracer, Salvador LaRocca, to be back on the book. And he decided to use the exact same character model. If anyone else is read the Salvador LaRocca and Philip Kennedy Johnson Alien, that's literally the exact same model character for the main character from Alien.
Ew.
Like literally everything. It's the exact same guy. I'm sure it's like a picture of his brother or something. He just traced the exact same.
Stefan brings up the last 2 issues of Carnage dealt with the Dark Elf realm. Okay. I knew there was something because I think either watched somebody or someone said something like that. Like there's something that you have to read. Maybe it's not mentioned. I don't know. I guess let me refine my opinion. When Eddie Brock shows up, it just doesn't feel like Donnie's Eddie. You know, it's Ewing, and I guess that makes sense
because it's not
the character.
Donnie's Eddie.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. But the way it was solicited, it was like it just kind of. Like, I remember when they first announced this book, it was like Donnie gets to play with, gets Eddie back. I'm like, yeah, right. And then it's like,
which is why I actually think that Donnie probably wrote 0 words of this book. I think he probably had it scripted or charted out, and then whenever he had whatever's going on, that got emailed over to Al Ewing, and Al Ewing said, got it from here, and he's the one that actually tweaked the script and wrote all the actual dialogue. I don't think there's a single actual word of Donnie's.
I think the only thing that probably wasn't a word that Donnie's was in the script, Crimson Mjolnir.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I think his script this is his script. It reads like his script for sure. The dialogue does not read anything like a Donnie dialogue. Maybe a touch of, but
I feel like the beginning, where there's just like in the blah 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 blah, blah like that felt like him. But
that's what I meant. Yeah, Stefan Lazy LaRocca is right. I was very disappointed to open this book, and I knew it. I remember, and I opened it up, and I was like, man, especially when you get a great Nick Klein cover.
Which is crazy because, like, we'll get issue 28, we'll get through it, and then you would assume after 28, if you didn't read solicitations, I think both of us would have been like, you know what, we might be done with this book, but Groenbeck is coming onto the book, and she knows how to write a Thor story. So if there's anybody that I'm glad is picking up, the book for however long Kate's absence, or if he's done, the fact that Groenbeck is going to be on the book in the coming day, in the coming solicitations, that makes me happy. So, otherwise, I think if it had been like, oh, Donnie's taking a break and Land is writing the next four issues, or pick any writer that is not, I guess, I don't know, anyone without weight, I think both of us would have been like, I think we're done, But the fact that Groenbeck is going to be on the book after these 2 issues has me pretty excited. So there's that. Joe, I hope when we get to the Thanos storyline, we have Donnie back. I don't want another Hickman situation. I agree, but we just don't know yet. We just don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We don't know.
All right, let's jump over to DC, and we're going to kick it off with Action Comics, Superman Action Comics 1047. Yeah, I agree.
Beautiful.
Chef's kiss. I agree. I totally agree. I had fun. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah,
keep this up, please.
This was literally everything I wanted it to be. Like, it brought in a Superman baddie from the past. It's got Lex Luthor. It's got whatever his damn wife's name is. It's got Federici on the art, which I thought was just like killer, absolutely killer. I think this is one of probably his best books.
Okay, I'm dumb. Who was the guy in prison?
Metallo.
Metallo. Okay, I didn't know. Okay, got it.
Mental or Metal? I can't remember.
I thought it was
I think it's Metallo. Yeah.
Metallo. Okay. All right.
Where's that panel? The panel with them up in the sky, and you can just like see the emotion in Lois's face. I was just like, this one. I was just like, yeah, man, that is just Federici to the core. Not a lot of people can do that. And almost no one in comics is doing that much.
Who was the colorist for this?
I mean, you've got the book in front of you.
I know, but there's like 15 names on this book.
Because there are literally 4 or 5 different colorists. Because and I don't know who the main one is. I don't know.
Well, this is what I want to say. My only gripe is I'm looking at this book right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Federici did the artwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Philip Kennedy Johnson did the writing. And then you said there's like multiple colorists, right?
Yeah.
But as I skim through this book, The Last God,
Yeah.
the coloring on this book is phenomenal.
On The Last God?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that I don't think the coloring is up to par in Action Comics. I don't. For some reason, the coloring bothers me. And that's just me. I just don't. It made, to me, it made Federici's artwork look a little flat, just a tiny. Like if they had taken the coloring out of this book and it had been black and white, you know, like I know it would have bothered, like to the core, it would have been like, wait, what are you doing? But I think Federici's artwork is more balanced and more descriptive than with the current colorist on this book. That's my only thing, and that's just
I
me.
can see. No, I can see that. I can see that for sure. But yeah, I don't know. You tell me as someone who's probably a little bit less, because honestly, like Philip Kennedy Johnson and Riccardo Federici are probably my favorite duo in all of comics right now. When they get together, I just think it's perfection, and I can be a little bit biased. So you tell me how you felt coming back on this issue after being gone for almost a year.
This felt like a very, even though there were War World stories going on and, you know, arcs that were mentioned, obviously, like it's a big fucking deal with what's going on in the book. Because I read, let's say, how far did I go into it until I jumped off? Like, you think I was at the halfway point? Maybe a little less than the halfway point?
Probably about the halfway.
Okay, so having at least halfway worth of knowledge of Warworld, that did, me jumping off of the book and then coming back on, I had no hindrance. Obviously, because one, I have your review and I know what's going on. But even if I didn't, me thinking about it, I would have been okay. And so I liked it. I am in the camp that I hope we continue this. Now, obviously, things will probably change as we get further into the event that seems to still be building in Infinite Crisis on whatever what Dark Crisis. I don't even remember.
Dark Crisis on
Infinite Earths. Okay, whenever that ends, and supposedly there'll be some kind of consequence. Let's see what happens to Action Comics and Superman and all that shit. But in general, I really liked it. I had a good time. Like I said, the one thing that bothered me was purely artistic, and that was the colors. I felt like the coloring kind of diminished Federici's artwork. Just a hair.
Sure.
So,
I can agree with that as well. But yeah, I think and this panel too was just so fun, having like the whole family.
Oh yeah,
that was so fun.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like someone
Cars
like
in her new suit too.
Like what it reminded me is someone went in with pencils and like they colored it, right? But they didn't finalize it. Like there's no like I don't want to say gloss, but there's like another step that seems to be missing in the coloring that gives the artwork that respect that Federici does with his line work. So that's just me. Before we jump into our other book, Joe, with his halfway through the show questions, as always, says, since this year started, we've had Devil's Reign, Judgment Day, and we still have Dark Web. Question is, Marvel having too many events each year with the tie-ins hurting them more than helping them? And then second question, and having the events hurting the pockets to buy other Marvel books? So, Devil's Reign for me, in my opinion, was a waste of time. We could have done all that in Daredevil. Judgment Day feels like a genuine event. And obviously we don't know what Dark Web, like how that's going to be structured and how that's going to feel in the story that it's told. But at first glance, feels kind of like a potential Devil's Reign situation. But the X-Men are involved. So like there's that gravy that you can kind of sift through. So are they having too many events? If Judgment Day had been if Judgment Day had felt like Devil's Reign, in my opinion, like how it feels, then I would say yes. Because I was already at Marvel event fatigue when we got to Heroes Reborn. That was a complete and utter waste of time. That could have stayed in Jason Aaron's Avengers book, but we blew it out, and I made the mistake of buying all the tie-ins. What did I learn in that? If it's not
don't do that.
If you are not 100% like, fuck yeah, let's go, don't buy the tie-ins. Just don't buy the tie-ins. Buy the direct book, and then when you see a show like ours or anybody else, it's like, hey, you may want to go get this one, because this one has some weight, right? Like, so like our current books that we're reading, the Avengers Judgment, X-Men Judgment, Eternals, right? I don't know. Did I answer the question?
Yes, yeah, I think so.
Okay, what do you think?
I think there should never be more than one event per year. From any publisher. Okay. I think anytime you do more than one event where you're doing, and when I say event, I guess I'm talking a book that has its own separate mini release, right? So for instance, I would not categorize Ten of Swords as an event. It is a crossover, sure, but it's not an event because it doesn't have its own book, right?
Right.
So, and I think your examples are perfect. Devil's Reign, Judgment Day, Dark Web. In order for these things to feel weighty, I think you should only have one per year where we're bringing everyone together and everyone should be affected. That's the whole point of events, right?
That was kind of like War of the Realms, right? Like, we didn't experience that event live, but reading it and seeing all the tie-ins, I was like, oh yeah, that is a Marvel event.
Yeah. But like, excuse me, Devil's Reign. While I completely agree. All of that could have been done just within the Daredevil book, or just with I don't know, just without all the extras, without all the tie-ins. Some of the tie-ins were good, and that's fine. But like, some of the tie-ins were also written, like, some people, or like some editors or like people that work in comics will argue, well, the reason why we're able to get so many books out is because we're getting different collaborators to work on that. And it's like, well, that's fine. You can have different writers writing the Daredevil book and then have it come out weekly for like 4 weeks or something, or plan ahead and have that writer write them out. Obviously, Chip Zdarsky could do it because he was writing Woman Without Fear and Daredevil while, like, it was all 3 books coming out at once. So I think it's bad because you've got someone like, the second part of your question was, are these events hurting the pockets, for buying other books? And it's the reason why I'm skipping Dark Web completely. I'm not even getting the event book because I just can't afford.
That's news.
I can't afford it compared. I'm not going to sacrifice any of my main books for that event, especially for an event that the basis of I'm angry about as it is. Like, we just fixed Madeline Pryor and now she's evil again, and you fuck right off of that shit. So I'm not going to spend my money on that event when I don't, like, even the premise itself is just not interesting.
Are you going to peer pressure me to not buy it?
No, I think you should buy it. I think you should buy it for the show. I think we need to cover it, but I'm not buying it.
It's not fun when you can't, like, share with me, like, just borrow it. Just borrow it and then just like put it on aside and then just read it and then put it back.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think one event per year maximum.
That being said, I agree with you. I totally agree. So, attending too many events isn't the problem. It's the quality of the events worth it. If the series aren't strong enough for the events, it's terrible. X of Swords was the start. Since then, what has it made? What made that? Yeah. An event important. Like, I don't. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're just kind of. I feel like, and this is again a controversial thing, but like when Donnie started doing Absolute Carnage and everyone was like, oh, right, and like I read it and it was really good. It was really good, but I was like, And it also, Absolute Carnage got me into Venom, which was fun. But when we got to King in Black, like, it was fun, right? It was fun. But I think that was, for me, was the start of, like, I don't know if this was worth... Because there were tie-ins that made no fucking sense. Namor, that was the worst. Absolute worst. And I bought all of the tie-ins for the King in Black event. And I think that was the first instance for me where I was like, man, should I not buy all the tie-ins? Probably not. And then, like, Avengers Hero Reborn came out. I was like, nah, surely I'm not going to get burned again. And I got fucking burned on that one. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going with Detective Comics issue 1064. Hey, I feel like this was a good middle ground of what we had talked about in New Comic Book Day, where you were like, I don't know, man, there might be just a little bit of this. And there was, like, both. You know, there was a little bit of storytelling, there was deposition, and then there was action. And I will say, you know, out of the 3 out of this arc, this one had me super, like, let's go, I'm ready, I'm behind it fully now. Like, I am ready to go.
Well, and I think it's just absolutely silly for us to have been calling this the end of an arc in any facet way at all. Like, it makes no sense. But that's fine. That's all supplementary, and it really doesn't change the facet of the book. And so, yeah, I was really excited about this. I thought I had a lot of fun with it. At first, when I started reading, like, when I opened the book and you see Damien and his mom fighting, I was like, okay, that's cool. And then he's like, tell me this story. And I turn the page and we get this amazingly drawn art. But I saw all of the exposition on the page and I was like,
Yeah.
And then by the time I finished the page, I was like, oh, fuck, this is great. But, like, it took me a second. I will be honest. It took me a second to, like, dive in. And then by the time we were done, I was like, man, this feels like old 80s Grant Morrison. What is that one Batman book he wrote before he started writing Batman? It doesn't matter. The first time he wrote Batman, just very gothic and very dark and very bleak. And I was like, yeah, okay, this is cool. I like this. And then it cuts straight from that story to Bruce in a hospital looking at all his fucking, like, broken bones and dislocated bones and stuff, and then him fucking panic attack my ass.
Joe, let us know what happened there. Let us know what happens in that book, because I'm interested, because I know it's getting a reboot.
What book?
Miles Morales' Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I did see that it was getting a reboot.
Yeah,
after a lot of issues.
And he's going to be in his original suit now, so they're ditching the new suit that he has, which I don't know how I feel about that. I liked his new suit. I mean, I didn't read it, but anyway, this is a good book. I'm super stoked. I'm ready for it. Huh?
You didn't read the backup, did you?
What do you think?
I honestly, like, do you just sit on your toilet at home?
No, I literally don't read the backup.
Rich?
Listen, I don't. Shut the fuck up. The only reason why I don't read the backup is purely to piss you off. I'm like, haha, Nate's gonna get so mad.
This backup makes me want another Gordon book, but not the Joker one.
What'll happen? What'll happen is DC will announce this storyline that you're currently reading as a one-shot full book, and I'll be like, dude, we gotta read this, and you're gonna be like, fuck you.
I would love if they did with this Simon Spurrier backup with Azrael, where it was like, you know, it started as not a backup, but it started in that Urban Legends book, and then it shoots off into his own miniseries. I think that would be really cool. Because it was strong. It was good.
Yeah. Calvin says, did you guys ever not read a book and just looked at the art and got the gist of it? So, I didn't get around to reading issue 2 like 2 weeks ago of Barbaric, but I just like skimmed through it and I was like, got it. Like, so yeah, I think there's like
I feel like I've done that before too. It's not easy though. It's definitely not easy.
No, You know what? One book you can't do that with, and it's actually in the show, Department of Truth. You can not read what they're
No,
saying.
you could never know ever in the what was going on.
I need to read Tinian's Detective Comics. Like, don't you have that hardcover? Tinian's
I
Detective?
don't.
I thought you did.
No, that's a big old omnibus. I do not have it.
Joe says, "Yeah, every Spawn book. I read one. I agree. I've only read one, and I can tell you right now, I could do the same. I could just make up the dialogue because it's so bad." Anyway, let's move on to.
That's right, Patty. He's just hurting himself. He's not hurting me.
Anyway, here's a book that Nate didn't read because he forgot about it, and that's Tim Drake's Robin, issue number 1. And let's just get the controversy out of the way. The artwork. I personally don't know diddly squat about Tim Drake as Robin because I'm still very new to DC Comics. Yeah, but when I picked this book up, right? When I picked this book up, I cannot remember who checked me out at Collected. I can't remember her name, but she was very upset about. I can't remember her name, and I wish I remembered her name. I'm so sorry if you're watching this. I'll remember your name next time. She was basically saying that the artwork was not. Tim Drake deserved better. Like, he's a much more serious character, and I kind of took her judgment before reading this book. And when I was reading it, I was like,
even though you knew who the artist was, because we talked about it 3 seconds.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you, I have no problem with the artist, right? I liked this artist when they were on Harley Quinn when a lot of people didn't. But I guess the bias, or not the bias, the opinion affected the way I read the book. I was like, you know what? This doesn't, from what she told me, and she seemed very like knowledgeable of Tim Drake. I just kind of ran with it. And so the artwork kind of bothered me in this book. But what's happening in the book, I'm kind of like, what the fuck's going on here? This is kind of creepy. You know, like, you know, Nate, you didn't read it, and I know you will, but like there are 2 characters that are introduced as neighbors to Tim Drake. And then like 3 pages later, one of their heads has been cut off and the other one's been stuffed into a metal bucket. Like, and it quite literally had me going like, oh, like, not oh shit, like, oh fuck. Like, that's, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So to me, that was like the only like big thing about the book. I'm kind of in the middle on it. I don't know if I'm going to get issue 2. And I really think that's because of just my lack of knowledge of the character. And I don't know if this book is going to push, hey, if you don't know who Tim Drake is, this is a perfect book for to read, or if this is like more of a letter to Tim Drake fans who are just like ready to hit the floor and run with the character because they know everything about him. I don't know. So I'm kind of on the fence on it right now. What do you else think? I know you didn't read it, but what do y'all think?
I didn't read it, but the art's certainly not going to deter me. That was.
Right.
I like Riley Rossimo. I think he's a good artist. I do understand that maybe this isn't the style of book that best suits his art. I could understand that, but
yeah, I think Harley Quinn that fits, right? Like Harley Quinn in that artwork, I think works. But for Tim Drake, my impression is it doesn't. You know, like from the community, and I usually try not to take like notes from the community. Why am I out of focus? But I don't know, like. Organically reading it, just didn't feel right. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's an actual hero of the Bat family rather than an anti-hero who's turning good. I don't know. It's just it didn't feel right. Now, if the artwork was who the cover artist was, that might have helped it a little bit because I do think this like anime style looks a lot cooler. What?
Joe said his head looked like.
Say what?
Joe said his head looked like a peanut.
A couple times, a little bit. Patty, I agree with Joe. I wish the characters at least looked more like they actually are. Yeah, I think it's definitely a different art style. And again, I think it works with Harley Quinn. I don't know if it works with Tim Drake, but that is a very novice opinion because I don't know this character very well. Like, not even.
I'll probably chill on the book and let some opinions come out before I decide on issue 2.
I'm definitely on the fence for issue 2. Like, I didn't pre-order it, so I'm gonna wait, and it's gonna be a day of for sure. But
yeah,
it's different. All right, let's talk about Nice House on the Lake. This is our last DC book, and this is gonna move us into our independence. Oh shit. Yeah.
I was very hesitant to read this book because
of the break,
of the break, and the problem that we had last time in the break, and nope, not a problem.
I mean, it almost kind of explains what happened in the previous issue, which after reading the issue, I was like, oh yeah, oh shit, you know, like,
oh, yeah.
So what we find out is the character that we were introduced to in the very first episode, who is the artist, is actually a replacement. And that replacement, the reason why she's a replacement is because the original artist in the group became aware or became too involved in the actual creation of this, and I put this in, utopia, if you will, or just whatever it is. And so he was locked away, right? Because apparently Walter has bosses, and the bosses basically said, you were tasked to pull together a group of humans to essentially keep from dying and being shown worthy to live through the apocalypse, right? I guess. Or they are the picturesque form of what humanity should be. I don't know. Like, I think that's where we're going.
Mm.
And when he did this and he created this, space, he actually used them to create it and then wiped their memories, right? And we find that out in this book, that when they are given their memories back, they come to realize that they were a part of creating this paradise or bubble. I'm going to say bubble because it's not a paradise. And so that's what we find out in this book, is that multiple characters were definitely involved in creating this space, and then their memory was wiped. And whether they were doing it voluntary or not, we don't know. We're getting there. And Stefan, I'm so sorry that your copy didn't come in. That's bullshit.
Oh, shit. Sucks.
But this issue, literally jump-started my memory about last issue, because I was in the same boat, Nate. I was very concerned that I was going to be like, man, this book has been off for about 3.5 months. Am I going to remember or even care what's going on in here? And the answer is yes, because we get a lot of deliverables in this book. We find out how Walter controls everybody. We find out how he wipes their memory. We find out how they're regenerating. We're finding out that he isn't all knowing and he isn't all controlling. He has beings above him that are dictating what he does, but he cares for these people so much. He's almost human, right? So now I'm very intrigued, and I would assume the last 2 issues are basically consequence. Just consequence. That's what this book is. Like that's what the next 2 issues are going to be. So
yeah.
The setup is over.
The setup is, for sure over. And then we obviously had that big bang at the end.
Right. Yeah, a character may have died, or no, they're dead.
They're dead.
Because the replacement artist was privy to all these privy to all these conversations with Walter and another person. She fucks around, and she's about to find out that you don't just mess around with alien controls and not know what you're doing. And she may have killed somebody on accident. So, but we'll see what the next issues are. If there was a DC pick of the week, it would be this book. So, got a little tickle. All right, let's move on to our independence. Calculated Man did not come out. Whatever. All right, Grim number 5.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, did you not? You have Briar in the show?
Do I have what?
Briar in the show?
Yeah.
Okay. You just didn't do it. So I wasn't sure. Before we move on, I'm just gonna go ahead and say I don't know how I'm gonna pick my pick of the week, because it's just Independence. Independence are my pick of the week. Okay. All of our Independence this week.
I don't think. I was gonna say, if you're gonna do all the Independence in the shop, I don't think we can get them all on the shelf.
I'm not gonna do all the Independence. Okay, I'm specifically like Boom Studios. Just Boom is the best comic book publisher right now, bar none. Like I don't think it's even close by a millisecond. Like, or at all. Like, it's just not close. It's just not close. Boom is doing fantastic stuff. And why can the big three not get on board the quality that Boom?
Oh
is
my
putting
god,
out?
yes.
Like, there's no way that tiny little Boom comparatively is being able to afford to put their books in this quality, and Marvel and DC can't. You'll never be able to convince me.
Joe, I kind of said that before the show started earlier. When he said that, I was like, dude, you're so cringe. Like, you're so cringe.
Why? Why is that cringe?
Because it's kind of like what Robbie does right now. Like, he's like, he starts the show with Independence first, and he's all like, oh, it's so good, right? And then he gets DC and Marvel, and he's like, I mean, it was all right. You know, have you seen that?
I have not watched him in at least 6 months. So.
Have you seen that TikTok where like people rate, you know, like, okay, we're gonna rate all the Harry Potter movies, and so like the first one comes out, and there's a guy that's like, it's all right, and then they get to the next one, and it's like, that was absolute dog shit.
Yes,
That's what you sound like. Anyway,
whatever. Talk about Grimm.
Let's talk about Grimm. Yo. This is my official pick of the week. This book was the shit. I mean, we called it, obviously, and I think it was pretty obvious that Jessica was the daughter of Death, right? Like,
familial in some way.
Yeah, like we were like, that's pretty obvious. That aside, holy hell, man! Like, this book was so good, and we get to meet Death. Oh no, Death dies. But in such a cool fucking way, right? Like, this book was so much fun. Nonstop. It didn't read too fast, but by the time it ended, I was like, no, I want more. And luckily, like you said, we're getting this book in January, right? Like, we get
super
right,
soon. Like,
or even December. I can't remember.
I think it's December because it's super quick. Super quick.
I'm about it. Anyway, I love what we're setting up here. We're setting up this giant war between a brother and sister, Death, and I guess what would have been Death, which we get a whole history about that. But it was done so well that I wasn't like, oh man, history lesson. It was like, oh, this is sick. We're getting lore and just family feud, and where it left off, like when Death, when Jessica finds out that she's the daughter of Death, and then Death quite literally says, like, your mother was very special. I was like, oh, we'll probably get that in like 3 arcs from now. No. That shit's coming quick. And Jessica's mom, I would assume, is a badass. She looks badass when we get a reveal of her. But I don't know, man. I think Grimm, if you're not reading Grimm and you're kind of on the fence, take our opinion to heart. Go read it. Go get it. Go pick it up. Pick up the trade when it comes out. Or if you can get singles, whether they're multiple prints. I think issue 1 is on like print number 7 by now. And
it went really far.
Yeah, and I have most of them, if not all of them. I picked up every single one of those. But it's a good story, and we see, we get some resolution, but then we get more mystery, and I don't know, man. Grimm is really fun, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. I think we're getting ready to have a massive war amongst the Reapers, amongst the living and the dead, and I loved the hook, which is basically we're going to get to meet Jessica Harrow's mom, and I'm for it. I want to see why she's special. Maybe she's an angel, or maybe she is human. I don't know. We just don't know. And
he says she's human, right?
She says she's human, but she's special. And so I'm, if I had to guess, I think she's a human, but I'm going to go ahead and say she's like a fallen angel, or an angel that was granted humanity or something like that, which would be really fucking cool. So
that would be great. Yeah, no, that would be great.
And all I'm saying now, Netflix, if you're watching this, and I know you got to deal with Boom, go ahead and make this a show. Just go ahead.
Go ahead and do it.
Not because I'm sitting on 6 prints of the number 1.
No, definitely
6th
not
printing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this would be a dope ass show for Netflix or any place. So, and also this cover's fucking fire. So, good job. This is my pick of the week.
That's chips. Pick of the week.
And this
All
is
right.
the end of the arc, so I think November the trade comes out. So if you're trade waiting,
Nice. Get on that, guys. All right, House of Slaughter, issue number 9.
That's what we're doing. So I read this issue and I said, you know what? I'm just not smart
You're out.
enough. I was sad. And then I stopped and I said, you know what? I need someone to explain it to me. So I read someone's review on it and then I went, I'll be goddamned. I'm not the only one that feels like this is very, very, very heady. But
Okay.
in this issue, it finally all kind of comes together what we're doing. Essentially, what we've been doing for the previous 2 issues with our main guy here sitting out on the boat, going through his memories, having a conversation with his familiar, his monster, essentially. They're talking about the possibility of there being more developed monsters and that maybe fear can taste different and that different types of fear can cause different types of monsters, and how can they get a monster out on this island where there really aren't that many people and there's really not enough people to even believe this thing's happening for a monster to manifest, and maybe a stronger monster can cause a concentration of fear that can mean that even a small group of children at a getaway camp can be strong enough to manifest a real monster. And the hook at the previous issue was that there's something that our main character doesn't remember, but the familiar does. And he's like, well, how can that be? Well, it turns out the monster that our main dude here has is different than every other monster I've come across before. He's like a super monster. And he has found a way to enjoy certain types of fear and essentially never run out of being able to eat that. So it's hard for me to explain. I'm not even going to go into all of it. Basically, the monster has got the taste of this dude's mom's fear. And what he does is erased memory, is essentially hidden away from this kid so that he won't lose them, but the monster can keep feasting on them. And it's basically this weird concept that not only do we have stronger monsters and that we have different fears, but there's this whole other realm of familiars and monsters and demons and things that can be manifested that even the Order of St. George hasn't told its members about, or they just straight up don't know.
Gotcha.
And it looks like the concept of the monster or the monster dragon in this body of water looks like that's probably real. And dude's mean monster summoned it on accident. He thinks he's a big bad monster, and it turns out he probably summoned something that's bigger and badder than he is.
Interesting.
So I'm curious to see how this particular arc finishes. We only have one more issue, but it was a lot. It was a lot to get in my head. Maybe they're salvaging this arc yet. Maybe. I honestly, when I started this one, I said, if it isn't good enough, I'm not going to cover it, and we're going to quit mentioning it on the show. I'm just going to say, nope, skip it. But I would say that this was good enough to if you were balls deep into Something's Killing the Children-esque stuff like I am, keep writing it out. It's worth it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. After that, we have Department of Truth,
Bro,
issue 21.
do you have Briar on the show?
I thought
Where
I
did you put it?
Let's see. No, I don't. Give me a second. We'll just put it up on the screen. Here, hold on.
All right, yeah, it's my pick of the week. but
Hold on,
whatever.
hold on. No, I
It's
didn't.
good.
That's
I
right.
thought it was
Because
pretty
no,
great.
I remembered that we didn't have it on the show because we didn't have it on New Comic Book Day, and then I was like, oh shit, we need to pick that up. Give me a second. Just freaking wait.
So
you didn't
while
remember.
he's doing that. This is your job. Okay.
All right, hold on. Hold on.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Pick of the week.
Briar is a sort of a retelling. I mean, not sort of. It for sure is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. This is just a 4-issue mini from Christopher Cantwell, local guy, Iron Man, guy that we know well.
I don't think it's Snow White. It's
Joe, it's Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty.
Her name is Blair Rose. But yeah, she's very much. It starts the same. It very much kind of has a feel of like an amalgam of the Disney princesses, though, as a beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But it very much is. She goes to sleep, and the prince comes to save her, and the prince goes, "What if I marry her but don't wake her up, so she doesn't like nag me and bitch at me and shit, and I can just do what I want?" And that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
He never kisses her. She stays asleep, and he becomes the king, and him and her dad go on and keep warring and fighting, and then the whole realm crumbles. And she wakes up 100 years later. Someone comes and wakes her up, but runs away before she can fully come to. And she has come to into a world that is just totally different from her. There are races of beings that she didn't even know about. Her entire castle is completely fallen. Everything that was her familiar area is now like a forest. This is very much what would happen if Sleeping Beauty woke up in a high fantasy Lord of the Rings world.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's gruesome. It's bloody. You did read this?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I like before the show started, I told you I enjoyed it a lot. It just wasn't. No, I enjoyed it. I just think Grimm for me, Grimm was just, the build up for Grimm was just like, yeah. So that was my pick of the week. But that
and
being said,
this is much more like up my alley sort of a thing. Like I enjoy high fantasy stuff. Of course, this has even got like a map in the back, and it's got different races and
nothing about
looking
this
people and all that.
Yeah.
I totally get
nothing
that.
in this book, even the language, did not turn me off. It's just, I think for me, Grimm, the build up for Grimm, and I don't know, I had Grimm at a higher expectation because I was like, man, this is the end of the first arc, like it better slap, and it fucking slapped, Whereas this is a new build, and I'm sure this will continue because there are very awesome moments in this book that I'm like, I cannot wait to read issue 2 to see where we go with it, because like, it's dope.
Yeah, and it scratched an itch that I currently don't have any books doing for me, and that's the really
fantasy.
high fantasy aspect of it, and the art really lends itself to that style too.
Yeah.
This is not an artist I'm familiar with, but Garcia's art was perfect for this.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone's picking up the trade. Got a lot of buzz. Yeah, I would agree. All right, let's jump over to Image with Department of Truth, issue number 21. James Tynion the fourth. Onion. What are you doing, man? You are just. This book is so goddamn good. This book is so good. This is very close to being my pick of the week, but I think the next issue, if not the issue after that, is going to be my pick of the week. If there is another issue, or if next issue is the last. If next issue is the last issue,
You gonna riot?
I mean, I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna be sad, but I feel like Tynion will deliver because I feel like we're really building to this. Like, I just don't know who to believe anymore, right? Like, he's muddied the water so much that I can't even tell that if our main character Cole is a good guy or not. I just don't know. He's concerned. He has concerns, but other than that, I don't know which way is up or down, and that's why I love this book. The story is amazing. Don't get me wrong. The story has been absolutely fantastic. The fucking artwork in this book.
Yeah.
And the representation and the, just the examples and what things represent in certain aspects of the book is just out of this world. You know, when the characters are representing the country and or department that they actually are with, I thought that was so cool. Where like one guy is, you know, it's the Soviet, and his whole silhouette is the Soviet Union's flag, and then, you know, Hawk isn't draped in the American flag, and then Oswald is the Department of Truth logo, or, you know, emblem. And when he's talking, it's like the eye is just looking right at you as you read it. I don't know. I feel like Tinian's really setting up for a really crazy ending, because this book is already crazy. And again, you know, this book needs to be picked up. I thought it was, or somebody picked up something for this book, I felt like. But I don't even know how to explain it. Everyone's double crossing everybody else, and we just don't know who's good, who's bad. And I feel like my prediction is when this book actually ends, Cole is going to bite it. He's going to get a bullet. And it'll probably be at the hands of his husband.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, that definitely is where I think. I think we had a really good character moment that we don't get too much in this book, because ultimately characters aren't really the big point, right? This is much more plot driven than it is character development. But I just love Ruby so much that like she's been really the only character that's consistent from the very beginning and take no shit. Like at every point she's like Cole is like looking at a gold bar and she's like, "You're gonna take one?" And he's like, "Yeah, I probably should." And she's like, "I'll fucking have to kill you if you do." Or like, "I'll search your pockets." And I'm like, "Oh shit, Ruby, like calm down." Like he's not gonna take the gold. Like
she's so by the book.
Is by the book and is just to the T the whole time. I don't know. It's silly, but that was my favorite part of this book, was the consistency of character for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to discuss this book without
no, it's a definite
totally
deep dive.
ruining it. But
yeah,
honestly, you know what I will say though is every time I see this book, I do feel like I need to, what is the phrase, batten down the hatches or whatever, just like steel myself, because like I'm like, oh man, I need to remember and I need to pay attention, and it's going to be heady and it's going to be deep. And I found this issue to be incredibly easy to read, but still had a lot of good concepts, a lot of big moments, a lot of well, it was fun and had the same twists and turns that you expect from a Department of Truth book, but I found it really easy to read.
Yeah, and I read it early this morning. I read Grimm and Department of Truth early this morning. No, not Grimm. What did I read? No, yeah, Grimm. I read this morning. I read Grimm and Department of Truth, and like I got through Grimm and I was like, oh, that was fun. And then this came up and I was like, whew, here we go. Like I'm glad I'm awake early this morning. I can digest all of it. And then it ended, and I was like, oh, well, that shit was good. You know, and I think Joe says it really well. He says, I'm on the 3rd volume of Department of Truth, and it's good, but it's a heavy read at times. So I'm guessing one issue at a time is a better reading experience than a binge format. I would agree with that. Because there are
one of the few times that I would say that this is just definitely a one issue at a time.
Yeah, because experiencing it, I remember those like middle issues that had guest artists, and it was like a history lesson. Dude, those were heavy as fuck. Like talking about the Man in Black and the Jackalopes and like all of that. Like that was very, very heavy and very like setting up very small pieces to get you to the bigger picture. And so I can see like you get through the first 12 issues and you're like, oh yeah, here we go. And then you're like, oh, time jump. And you're like, oh man. So I can totally see that. But yeah, it's a really good book.
Joe, what you're saying actually already exists. Joe said, I hope we get like a myth-busting conspiracy theory sort of thing. That type of stuff is, unfortunately, part of Tinian's Substack. He and a guest artist have been doing a series of one-shots and mysteries and conspiracy theories and tie-ins to real-life stuff that deal in tie-in from Real Life and Department of Truth in his Substack for over a year now. I think they're like 8 or 9 issues.
Wow.
I am just praying that we get a physical release of that at some point, because
Like a trade.
I think the only way you can get access to it right now is by getting into his full like $200 Substack. So
Nope.
it does exist. What you want does already exist. It's just hard to get to right now. So hopefully we'll get a print version once they decide they've finished that, or at least do 1 volume or something, because he's done really good at releasing his stuff so far. He's done Razor Blades and
Closet.
the Closet. So I think we'll see it eventually, but
Yeah, some other Substacks they ain't cutting it. So.
his is though. His is like the one I regret not jumping.
Because he's getting paid, dude. Like paid.
Well, but he's putting in the work. He's doing what
No,
one else.
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, he's getting paid. Not only is he getting subbed, but he's getting paid by Substack. So, all right, 8 Billion Genies. How was it?
Twas
Okay.
It was alright. It was
Twazite.
B, solid B.
Interesting. Usually you're pretty fair A on this.
Yeah, no, this one was just the concept that we got introduced into this issue was also really cool. I felt like it was pretty short, and the rest of it was just kind of fluff. So in the last issue, was the end of our superhero. Boy that turns himself into a superhero found that sanctuary city where the Thinker was, or whatever he called himself. I don't remember. The Idea Man. That's what he called himself. And I think that's supposed to be Ryan Brown, I think, or like a caricature of himself. But we sort of see that what he has done, and somehow this is real, by the way. He has this many genies. We don't know how he's done it, but he has somehow gotten himself a lot of genies, and he literally barters in genies in his city. Like, that's how he gets things done, and things get done. Is he had to pay? Like, at one point he says, I had to pay. Like, it's weird.
3 genies. Is that what you said? 3 genies.
3 genies, yeah. But basically, the world has been completely decimated. The only things that have been protected are those sanctuary cities that got a wish that basically said, I wish that nothing could affect us. Whatever. And he basically wants to bring the Earth back, but exactly how it was, but pretty much better, but without disrupting anything. And so they realized, because the genies kept telling him, if it's really a concept, we'll try to get out of it, find a way around it, because we don't like that. And so he finds it, and he finds a way to get the world back, and it takes this many pages to get it correct. And he's just reading it the whole time. Like, he's sweating. A woman comes and like it's like the world defined herein as referring to the entity of the third planet from the sun in the solar system within which it is made, commonly referred to in the English language as Earth, including without limitation its atmosphere and integral structure in all respects. Like, it is going down to the nitty gritty, like making sure that these genies can't fuck up exactly what he wants. But in the end, he gets the world back exactly how it is, and everything's safe. And so most of the people inside the tavern decide, well, we're gonna go out on our own now. Like, we don't want to wait here anymore. We're done. And so the Chinese family, the woman has her baby, they get together and they go leave. The superhero boy finally is able to get free from the Idea Man and his sanctuary city, and he comes and gets them, is going to take them back. The band, those 3 bandmates decide that they're going to stay together, and they go wander. And really, we don't get a clear direction of where we're going next. It just ends on like the sun setting and snow falling on the bar, and that's it. And it's like, join us next time, we'll see the first 8 years. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm actually, I mean, I'll read it, but like, you didn't get me excited for it. That's
no dang.
So it wasn't bad, and I thought the hook of this issue, the whole, you got to trick the genies and say it really precise. I thought, but overall, just okay, just average. I feel like we started right here, and we're just let me get the camera. Started here, and then we're just sort of like, and I just really hope we don't fall off because we still have 3 whole issues, and I literally have no idea where. Like,
well, Stefan says that this issue didn't put the peas back in the milk for me compared to the previous issue. I hope this series closes strong.
Yeah.
So, and Joe says, Stefan, I'm the biggest fear for this book as well. Will write themselves into a corner and rush over the ending and say it all done. Yeah, I hate when that happens.
Great.
That's it. Now, I will say, Mr. Easta was supposed to come out this week or last week, and it fucking didn't, and it's been pushed back another 2 weeks. I am officially dropping that book. I am not reviewing it. No matter when it comes out, it ain't happening. Sorry. So, Mr. Easta. Sorry.
You done.
Anyway, that is going to do it for episode 106, issue 106 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. Again, we love and appreciate every single one of you who are here live and every single one of you that is watching us as a previous episode. Like we've said all the time, we could do this, but we would just be 2 random guys talking on the internet by ourselves. But we have y'all to talk to, and we love that you guys interact with us. You ask us questions, you give us your feedback and your opinion, and we love it. We love our community so much, and we just want to grow it bigger. So make sure to share out this video, share out the concept of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. Let's bring in more people. Let's get more subscribers. Let's get that count up so we can hit 750 subscribers and then hit Old Dogs. Which one was that? I don't remember Old Dogs. What was Old Dogs? Look that up. Anyway, let's get more people to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, give us a like, and we'll see you again this Tuesday for another new comic book day, which is it's actually quite small. I don't think we even have one independent book next week. But we'll see you Tuesday at 4:30 when that video drops. And obviously, if you don't watch it until Wednesday, that's fine. And share that out, and then we will see you again here again next Sunday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, to do YouTube Live once again to talk about those pulls. We'll talk about She-Hulk episode number 8, and it's going to be a great time. Guys, take care of one another.
Joe, was that the Declan Shelby book? I haven't heard this or anything, but it does actually seem kind of interesting.
I guess we need to go check something out. We missed something. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you guys next. We'll catch you this next new comic book day, and if any breaking comic book news happens, we will try to get to it. But we'll see you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we'll see you again next Sunday for another live show. Yes, Nate will be going and doing another cowboy after party. Great. Have fun. How about them boys? Anyway.
Looking like a strong division right now. 4-0, 3-1.
Yeah, I know. Like, what's going on with the NFC East? Anyway. We will catch you guys in the next one. As always, be kind to one another and read more comics, fam. We will see you later. So new number 1, I think. So it's Old Dogs. So we need to go check out Old Dogs.
Old Dog.
All right, guys. Backup quarterback. I'm looking good. Okay, we're not doing another NFL.
You mean starter number 2?
We're not doing
quarterback controversy in Dallas.
Okay, we'll see you guys later. Jesus, we're not doing more football on this fucking show. Maybe we should start another